Hello all, and welcome back to NBC Nightly News. I'm Brianna Williams. Here to join us this evening is NBC's Chief Medical Correspondent, Dr. Nancy Snyderman, here to inform us about a relatively new procedure taking place in American hospitals that could possibly help parents combat the diseases that their future children are predisposed to. Is this a medical breakthrough or a new procedure that unnecessarily frightens soon-to-be parents? Here with her take is Dr. Nancy Snyderman.
Good evening, Brianna. There is a new phenomenon sweeping through the OB/GYN departments in hospitals all over the United States. What if you could find out what diseases your future child is predisposed to before the child is even born? Relatively new technology is becoming accessible to pregnant women and their doctors at an affordable cost. This procedure is called Whole Genome Prenatal Sequencing. It is a completely safe procedure. Instead of performing an amniocentesis on the pregnant woman, a blood sample is taken from her instead. The DNA of the baby can be isolated from the blood sample of the mother and can be sequenced, therefore lessening the threat of harming the baby. The human genome consists of billions of base pairs that code for proteins and other necessities that perform certain functions within the human body. Some of these genes have changes in their base pair sequences, called mutations, which can cause some people to have diseases, or have a higher chance of getting this disease. In this procedure, the DNA is sequenced and scanned for known sites in the genome, which are associated with certain diseases. The parents and physicians can then be informed as to which diseases the child may be predisposed to throughout his or her life. Presently in the United States, when a child is born, a DNA sample is taken from him or her to look at a select number of base pairs and test for severe diseases. Information gained from these base pairs will tell the parent if the child has a certain disease and then are given ways to treat or deal with the disease throughout the child's life. But in the case of prenatal whole genome sequencing, the parents may be overloaded with information about predispositions to diseases before the child is even born. Is this helpful to prepare parents for the possible future, or does this create parents who make rash decisions about their child's future or controlling over their child's life? Experts suggest meeting with the genetic counselor to determine if prenatal whole genome sequencing is a good option for you.
Thank you, Dr. Snyderman. It is a lot to think about, isn't it?
It is, and sometimes parents think about the repercussions the results of the test could have agreeing with the test. On the other hand, it could be a useful tool in combating certain diseases. This is why experts in the field of genetics recommend seeing a genetic counselor to determine if this test is one that you should consider.
Well, again, thank you for joining us this evening. And coming later, has Ebola reached Antarctica?
Hey Mom, did you hear that on the news?
What? Sorry, honey. I was doing the dishes. What was that?
You don't need to do the dishes every time you come to the house, Mom. There was a segment on the news that talked about prenatal whole genome sequencing and how it's available in some hospitals.
Quit your bickering. I'm your mother and you're carrying my grandchild. You should really stay off your feet. Now, what was that genomic screening thing?
It's a procedure that uses a sample of blood from the mother to sequence the whole genome of the baby while the baby is still in the womb. It can help determine if the child could be at risk for certain diseases in their lifetime before the child's even born.
All this new technology, that seems all this generation wants to do is get automatic answers and take the easy way out.
Mom, this is serious. This could be helpful in how a parent chooses to raise their child. It could also help the parents and the child to make decisions about their lifestyles and avoid certain diseases.
I raised you and your 4 siblings just fine without all that. All of you are happy and healthy babies that turned into successful adults. Your father and I took life as it came.
But don't we have a history of type 2 diabetes on Dad's side of the family? And on your side, Grandma Ethel and Aunt Peggy have skin cancer? Who even knows about Matt's side of the family?
That is true. Can those diseases be passed down through families?
I think so. I remember something from high school biology class that said certain diseases can be inherited from family and can be further affected by the environment you live in.
What do you mean by environment? Don't we all live in the same environment?
Well, kind of. If I remember correctly, the environment includes the air you breathe, the pollutants you're exposed to, your diet, exercise routine, or if you're exposed to a lot of smoke. Stuff like that, I think.
Well, maybe this is a good idea then.
The doctor on the news said that you can contact your physician to find a genetic counselor to meet with to determine if this is something we should consider.
I would talk to Matt about it, but it wouldn't hurt to ask your OB/GYN, Dr. Fitzgerald. She would point you in the right direction.
Hey Matt, how is Firehouse 6 doing today?
Hey honey, same old, same old. The engine is clean and now we're waiting for a call.
When will you be home again? My mother is driving me crazy, insisting that she stays here while you're working.
Haha, oh Margaret, has she made those muffins I love? I'll be home tomorrow around 7, I think.
You know that she did. She wishes that you were her son instead of my brother's. Thank goodness. I think I can make it until then. Did you catch the nightly news tonight?
Actually, I did. We just got back in time from a heart attack to catch it. What about it?
Did you see the part about whole genomic screening? I think it might be a good idea. We have a lot of diseases in both our families that could be passed down to our child.
I don't know, Annie. That just seems excessive to me. I think it's unnecessary. What is wrong with letting life happen, you know?
But what if we found something preventable, that we could change our parenting style to combat it?
What if we found out that our child has a 90% chance of getting leukemia by the age of 9?
I just feel that we should at least talk to a genetic counselor. Dr. Fitzgerald recommended me one when I called her.
It's up to you if you want to have this meeting with the genetic counselor. I'm fine with that. But before you go off and make any rash decisions, I think we should talk about this at a better time.
Of course. I might set up the appointment then. Do you have to get going?
Yeah, the guys want to start up a game of basketball. I'll talk to you later. Sleep tight, Anner Banana. Love you.
Love you too, Maddie Hattie. Be safe.
Are you ready for this?
I don't know, I'm kind of nervous.
Hello, folks. My name is Dr. Jean Ohm. You must be Allison, and who is this accompanying you?
Hi, Dr. Ohm. This is my mother, Margaret. It's nice to meet you.
You as well. Now, your OBGYN told me that you are interested in whole prenatal genomic sequencing. Is this correct?
Yes.
Okay, she also said that you guys would like some info about it. You weren't signing up for it right away. So, do you want me to just kind of take you through what we normally do?
Yep.
I have some paperwork here for you, a copy for each of you. Would you like to look at it
Yeah,
and follow
please.
along? Okay. So, if you decide to have this procedure, there are some regulations that I, as your genetic counselor, have to follow. First off, you have to fill out the paperwork stating that you are making an informed decision for you and your child in participating in this test. You will be making this informed consent on behalf of your child. This is necessary because we need you to know that you understand the risks and benefits associated with the procedure. Also, if you have this procedure done, we require that you have a consultation with a genetic counselor, either a colleague or myself, to discuss the significance behind it. We cannot release the results directly to you due to the risk of misinterpretation and the decisions from misinterpretations. By talking with an informed professional about the results, you'll be able to more easily understand the information and from that, make more informed decisions. Once the genetic information of your child has been determined, the results from the prenatal sequencing are only available to you, your husband, and your child.
So then I'll have to meet with you to get the results.
That is correct. Furthermore, the guidelines set for this procedure only allow me to share certain information with you about your child. As you may know, the results that you would receive provide an enormous amount of information concerning your child, much of whose function is still unknown to scientists. For this reason, and because of the child's autonomy, we can actually only release certain information from the sequencing that would provide you with medical information about your child's early life. Anything that could occur later in life is the child's information, and they can find that out if they wish.
What if we do not want to know about the diseases my daughter's child could acquire? Could we only screen for diseases in our family?
Yes, we can make that a part of our agreement. Actually, the guidelines I must follow require me to inform the client about disabling diseases and susceptibility to certain diseases early in life. However, if you wish to only know about certain diseases, that is something we can discuss.
What about the possibility of my child getting cancer or something like Alzheimer's?
There is no simple yes or no answer in the genes that tells you if this disease will occur or not. There are factors that contribute to the onset of these diseases that are not heritable or found in the DNA. Furthermore, because these diseases occur later in life, this is information for the child. It should be his or her decision to acquire this information. Therefore, we do not tell this information to the adults. Like I mentioned before, we can only give you the medical information that you can use to become a more informed parent and make more informed decisions about your child and your parenting styles.
But who keeps this information? You can't sell it, can you?
This information is only accessible to you, your husband, your child, and me as a genetic counselor. It will be kept in a secure location. So we're actually going to flip over to the next page, and that's where we continue on with this. But does that make sense? So only certain people can see it. We aren't going to sell it out to companies or try and make any money off of it. This is your personal information.
Okay, that's good.
Now let me lay out the pros and cons for you. The pros include that it is a very non-invasive procedure, meaning that there's no harm for your developing child because we can obtain their sample or their DNA sample from your sample of blood. After finding out the results of this test, you may be able to prepare financially and emotionally for certain conditions that your test may have or develop.
And what do you mean by that?
Many genes are dependent on both heredity and environment. If you know that your child is predisposed to type 2 diabetes, you can create an environment that promotes a healthy lifestyle. This test also allows you to make an informed decision about whether to terminate the pregnancy or not if it is a debilitating condition.
What about the con?
As we have already discussed, there are some upsides to having this procedure, but there are also some cons. We understand that the stress on parents during pregnancy is great, and adding another worry to their list could be unnecessary and could make them or cause them to make a rash decision about their child's future. Also, your child did not consent to knowing this information. You choosing to find out this information can affect his or her life, and your child perhaps doesn't want to know this information even at all. It is technically your child's choice to know his or her genetic information, so you finding out this before they are born is you acting on behalf of your child. So if this is not something your child wanted to know, then you have to deal with the consequences of making this decision for them.
Wow, I didn't think of these effects. So about how much does this cost?
It varies. The screening itself is around $1,000, and that's pretty normal. The price has actually come down a lot over the past couple of years, but the genetic counseling can vary in price. Also, some insurance companies cover this and others don't. It would be up to you to find this out. Another con is that the parents could take these results and think of the worst case scenario for their child. This could potentially add unnecessary worry and stress to their lives and relationships. Knowing this, do you guys have any more questions?
I don't think I do. It's a lot to think about, though. I'll have to go home and carefully think about it and talk with my husband and see if this is something that's for us.
Of course. It was nice meeting you both. And if you have any questions at all, or once you have come back with a decision, please feel free to contact me. I'll be in touch.